And the survey says people who do their own research are likely to reject the mainstream narrative and are far more likely to believe so-called conspiracy theories, according to a new research published in the science journal Nature this week. The survey says that you guys are right, the fact checkers. Well, survey says that was a lie. For the longest time, I started my videos out by saying Shabbat Shalom. And I would love to be able to tell you Shabbat Shalom, but I realize that if I encourage you in any way to relax and that there is peace out here in this world, I would be lying and I would be neglecting my duties as your brother. I want to say Shabbat Shalom, but you know the old saying, do not as the heathens do. How is it that everyone could just live it up, say on Christmas or whatever, when them people and all of us know that we're pedal to the metal towards the cliff, the world is, and we're more than halfway there. How is it that people 500 miles away from all the smashing over there in Gaza, all them people, them little children being blowed to smithereens, how is it that other people, even on the other side of the earth, how is it that they can just live it up and not think about lives being lost? Because it's Shabbat, I came here to uphold my duty as your brother and love you and ask that you love me and forgive me for any trespass that has occurred because of me or by me. And more importantly, because I want to give all praise, all honor, all glory, and all esteem to the one and only Abba Yahuwah. He's the Most High, our wonderful Creator, our righteousness. We're just going to get the verse of the day. Isaiah 40:29. He gives power to the faint, and to those who have no might, he increases strength. Let's give him some praise tonight on this Shabbat night. For some, not for all. I understand that there's a difference in opinion, but there's no difference, no contradictions in any of this word we're about to read. It's all truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. And it should be all you want to do is your own research. especially into this word. Chapter 40, Isaiah. Comfort, comfort my people, says your mighty Most High. Speak to the heart of Jerusalem and cry out to her, that her hard service is completed, that her crookedness is pardoned, that she has received from the hand of Yahuwah double for all her sins. The voice of one crying in the wilderness, prepare the way of Yahuwah. Make straight in the desert a highway for our mighty Most High. Let every valley be raised and every mountain and hill made low. And the steep ground shall become level and the rough places smooth. And the esteem of Yahuwah shall be revealed, and all flesh together shall see it. For the mouth of Yahuwah has spoken. The esteem of Yahuwah shall be revealed. The voice said, cry out. And he said, what do I cry? All flesh is grass, and all its loving commitment is like the flower of the field. Grass shall wither, the flower shall fade, when the spirit of Yahuwah has blown on it. Truly, the people is grass. Grass shall wither, the flower shall fade, but the word of our mighty Most High stands forever. You ever heard of your ass is grass? Yeah. You who bring good news to Sion, get up into the high mountain. You who bring good news to Jerusalem, lift up your voice with strength. Lift it up, be not afraid. Say to the cities of Yehuda, see your mighty Most High. See, the Master Yahuwah comes with strength, and his arm rules for him. We all know who that is, right? That's the word, the Messiah, Yahusha HaMashiach. The word, the truth, the way, and the life, and the Lamb. His reward is with him, and his recompense before him. He feeds his flock like a shepherd. He gathers the lambs with his arm and carries them in his bosom, gently leading those who are with young. Who has measured the waters in the hollow of his hand, and measured the heavens with a span, and contained the dust of the earth in a measure, and weighed the mountains in scales and the hills in a balance? Who has meted out the spirit of Yahuwah, or as his counselor taught him? Meted out. Meted means to measure, like who has measured his spirit out? Like who has said, you know, this person's going to get this much of the set apart spirit of truth, you know? That's why it's a rhetorical question. You know, he's saying, who has meted out the spirit of Yahuwah, or as his counselor taught him? You know, he's the one who decides, or he decides who he pours the spirit out onto, right? With whom did he take counsel, and who instructed him and taught him in the path of right ruling? Who taught him knowledge and showed him the way of understanding? See, nations are as a drop in a bucket, and are reckoned as dust on the balance. See, he lifts up isles as fine dust. And Lebanon is not enough to burn, nor its beast enough for an ascending offering. So, like, what he's talking about here, I need you to understand this, and this is another clue to let you know where you are. Where's where? He says, and Lebanon is not enough to burn. So what he's saying is, he's saying that because Lebanon, all through the Bible, is known for its trees, its forest. It's massive, tall, humongous trees. And other places throughout this journey, you know, in the Word and lots of other places along the way to finding out where Jerusalem truly lays. I seen that out where the redwoods are in like Northern California, Oregon, out there on the Pacific, in the Pacific Northwest. That's Lebanon. I seen that. And I've got plenty of proof that will tell you, that will point, and after you examine it all, you'll say, yep, that's where Lebanon was. That's where they went and got their big cedars, their big trees. And if you look at Lebanon over there, it's not. They did, though, I'll give them this much, they did attempt to plant a cedar forest back in like the 50s, and it kept like dying, and they kept trying to revive it and keep it alive, and they made news articles. They made big stories in the news when they first made it about it was a miracle that the cedar trees was growing. Well, come to find out, it ended up dying. They couldn't make it live, keep it alive, and come to find out, darndest thing, the soil there in that area, it makes it to where those trees cannot grow. It won't grow like it's, I don't know what it was called, but yeah. And I've read that here on this channel, what I'm talking about. So, but that's why he says Lebanon is not enough to burn. He's like saying there ain't enough trees there to burn to make him, like if you're wanting to do something for him, nor its beast enough for an ascending offering. Like, what can you do for me is what he's getting at. All nations before him are as a non-entity, and they are reckoned by him as less than a speck and emptiness. And to whom would you liken the mighty one? And what likeness would you compare to him? The workman molds a graven image, and the goldsmith overspreads it with gold, and the silversmith casts silver chains. He who is too poor for such an offering chooses a tree that does not rot. He seeks for himself a skilled craftsman to prepare a carved image that does not totter. He seeks for himself. And it's a tree that does not rot. So he's not talking about a Christmas tree. He's not talking about that. He's talking about the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, which causes you to seek for yourself. And a skilled craftsman is the enemy, like the Rothschilds and them. They, a mason is someone who works with brick and stone, and they make statues and stuff, monuments and monoliths and stuff like that. And they can carve your face on the side of a mountain, you know what I mean? That kind of stuff. Well, not only do they do that, they carve out their own path, they think, and they prepare something that they worship. They wouldn't tell you they worship it, but they bow down to it and worship it. Like, let's use Christmas for an example. That's manufactured. That's a man-made, by the enemy made a holiday, and it's a substitute. It's a mockery. It's actually a day that they celebrate Saturn. It's Saturnalia. It's the day that pagans made, and Christians hijacked it and took it over and made it their own little cute little holiday. That's what happened. And like I know I've seen so many men and women and husbands and wives have this discussion, this argument, debate, or whatever, and I've had it myself when I was married about where we were going to spend Christmas. I'm sure you're well familiar with that old song and dance, aren't you? You probably have had that conversation where it's went like, we'll have Christmas at my parents' house, but then Thanksgiving we're having, and I know some people, they take that so seriously. Like, even before I was on to what Christmas really is, back when I was a lover of it, you could see that it was like It was you. It was either you, or like they would choose having that holiday over you. Like you could die. They wouldn't care if you die. Like if you try to come between them and having Christmas just the way they want it, like they might kill you. So it's always been something that the people has bowed down to. So you might as well say a carved image, but that's what he's talking about, because the Most High speaks in riddles and codes. And that's how it has to be for lots of reasons. They seek for himself a skilled craftsman to prepare a carved image that does not totter. He's not talking about a statue. He's talking about them planning, like the Philosopher's Stone, them trying to accomplish eternal, to bypass the judgment and end up dead. They want to supersede Abba Yahuwah. The enemy wants to sit in his seat, right? We know this. This is the battle. Did you not know? Have you not heard? Has it not been declared to you from the beginning? Have you not understood from the foundations of the earth? And see, this is how you can tell that he was talking about the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. He says he chooses a tree that does not rot. Well, but down here in verse 21, he says, did you not know? Have you not heard? Has it not been declared to you from the beginning? From the beginning, what has been declared from the beginning? It wouldn't have nothing to do with the tree, would it? Yeah. That's why he's saying, did you not know? So he's talking about the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. And that star on Isis Ra-El's flag, that represents that tree. It is the tree. It's part of the tree. It's what connects the top of the tree, where the fruit is, to the roots, to the bottom of the tree. It's the combining. That's what that represents. It represents so much, and all of it's wicked filth, and ain't none of it any good. And listen to, think about what I just said. And that's the facts, 100%. Just imagine how many people around the world would want to fight me over saying those words right there. Just think about it. So you should see what kind of carved image it is, what they've built here. They've built a mountain. And we have it within us to tell that mountain, be thou cast across space, across the sky, and destroyed. If we believe, if we choose to take that freedom of coming home and getting under your daddy's wing, under the shadow of it, then there's nothing anyone can do to you. They're beat. But anything else is a result of the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. If whoever it is that has lived or that's alive, if they don't end up under the shadow of his wing, it's because they've been made victim by the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. They've been victimized. Have you not understood from the foundations of the earth? And like I said, you have to understand that it's riddles and parables. You know how many people who are probably right now online having a debate around the world about what the fruit was on the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, what it was that opened Adam and Eve's eyes. They debate that it's mangoes and grapes, you see. And it's so I don't even have words to describe it. But we have to refuse to be that complacent, that slack in our research, doing our own research. We have to be diligent. And this ain't a time to be relaxing. And look, my Mishpachah, if you're someone who knows that we're getting close to the beginning, to the end of the way life is now, but to moving on with our Abba, those of you who know that day is close, and it's close at hand, if you know that, you should understand that the chance for a pre-trib rapture has already came and gone. We're in the trib. And the reason the people can't see that we're in the tribulation is because they are being victimized by the tribulation. The image of the beast is right out in plain view, and it only takes due diligence, love, and desire to find and see it. And once you do, you'll realize that the whole world is bowing to it, to the image of the beast. They salute it. They give their allegiance to it. Just like that tree, but you have to understand that the reason anyone hugs that tree is because of the image of the beast. So they're hugging the image of the beast. They're bowing to it in one way or the other. She sits on many waters, the hoe of Babylon does. There's only one way out from her. And that's run. The only way out is to run, to get under his wing, in the shadow of his wing. It is he who sits above the circle of the earth, and its inhabitants are like grasshoppers, who stretches out the heavens like a curtain and spreads them out like a tent to dwell in, who brings princes to nothing, shall make the rulers of the earth as emptiness. Hardly have they been planted, hardly have they been sown, hardly has their stock taken root in the earth, when he shall blow on them, and they wither, and a whirlwind take them away like stubble. And to whom then do you liken me, or to whom am I compared, says the set-apart one. Lift up your eyes on high and see, who has created these? He is bringing out their host by number. He calls them all by name. By the greatness of ability and potent of power, a man is not lacking. Not lacking. Lift up your eyes on high and see, who has created these? He is bringing out their host by number. He calls them all by name. By the greatness of ability and potent of power, a man is not lacking. What is he talking about right there? What does he mean a man is not lacking? Lift up your eyes on high. So does that mean if you look up in the sky and you see the stars, the sun and the moon, that means you're not lacking? Is that what that means? I mean, you could look at it that way. You could say, well, the stars, the sun and the moon, they are on their course, on their path, and they do not transgress, and only he could have made them. And yeah, that the greatness of his ability and potent power would leave me not lacking, but even more, add a whole just as much proof to that is the truth you see when you look on high. When you look up into the truth, to the heavens, where the truth comes from, where the help comes from. And you are never left lacking. Never. Why do you say, O Jacob, and speak, O Yasharal, my way is hidden from Yahuwah, and my rights are overlooked by my Most High? There's another big flashing clue as to what you got to do. Why do you say, O Jacob, and speak, O Yasharal, my way is hidden from Yahuwah, and my rights are overlooked by my Most High? What do you mean, my rights are overlooked? Your right, it comes from your inheritance, your lot. You have, if you're a son or daughter, a child of the Most High Yahuwah, and you plan to rule and reign, to live with him, 144, whatever it is, whatever twist you put on it, your own flavor. If that's you, well, you have rights, and he ain't overlooked them. He hasn't forgot a one of them. He's just waiting for you to come back and possess them. Rule and reign. But he ain't he don't kidnap. He's not a creep. He's not a stalker, a chomo that's going to try and kidnap someone against their will and make them do things they don't want to do. That's not what Abba does. He granted us free will to choose where we want to live. When my children, when I divorced my wife, my second wife, Crystal too, I was granted custody of them and placement. And for the longest time, she was like, we would go 6-7 months before the kids would even see her. Like, she'd be gone and just, you never seen her. And it was just me and the kids. And as my children, like as right around like 2019, 2020, she had been getting her act together, and she had a place and a car and or a job and all that, and she had been showing up to like some school things and stuff like that. And I always told the children, like, I never wanted them to think for a second that I would ever want to keep them from her. Like, that's their mom. I would never do that. And she'd come get them, whatever, you know what I mean? As long as it wasn't like a school night or something like that, and it didn't interfere with me having to get them somewhere. And this is just what happened back then. I'm just telling you what happened. She would, by the time 2020 rolled around and she was getting her act together, and I'd always told the kids that they could go with her when she, like, if they ever wanted to move in with her when she had a place and was, didn't have her head up her rear end, if it got to a point where she was responsible and they wanted to go live with her, I told them, always let them know, like, you can, but I just can't right now. And they knew, like, because they would end up seeing half of the stuff that she did. But I would never, like, if my child wanted to go live with their mom and just hated living with me and there was no danger or threat to them over there, well, that's where they can go. I mean, I don't want to keep anyone against their will. And it's never going to work out, because they would only resent you, and they would just find more ways to hate you and hate being with you. Because they would sit there and think about whatever it is they're doing there with you, they're going to think of how they hate it and would rather be with the other person, you know? So it's just not good. And the Most High has never told you that he was going to snatch your ass and make you do anything, do something that you don't want to do. It's never come out his mouth. He does say that if you do, he's not going to strive with you forever, that because of this curse, we have to die. And the only way to avoid that is under the shadow of his wings. And if you don't go get under that, you die. He ain't kidnapped you. He sent you an invitation to the wedding supper. You got it. You know how to get there. And what time it is. If you ain't there come that day, that's because you didn't want to come. Everyone's worried that they're going to miss it, or miss this rapture, whatever they think it is. But if you don't know how to get there and what time it, how to be on time at that event, then you're going to miss it. Because you're not on the pitcher's mound. You can't see what's coming. The only way to know is to go to his word. Do your own research. The everlasting Most High Yahuwah, the creator of the ends of the earth, neither faints nor is weary. His understanding is unsearchable. He gives power to the faint, and to those who have no might he increases strength. Even youths shall faint and be weary, and young men stumble and fall. But those who wait on Yahuwah renew their strength. They raise up the wing like eagles. They run and are not weary. They walk and do not faint. So there you go. One key, a big, one thing that I notice a lot of people overlook, and they interpret the word wait a lot. And I used to do the same thing. The word's telling you to follow the Lamb wherever he leads you. But then when we read places where it says wait, those who wait on Yahuwah renew their strength, people like to use that as an excuse to say, no, see, all I have to do is wait and be patient, just stay where I'm at and just do what I'm doing. Just keep doing it and I'll be good. No. And that's why it goes on to say, they raise up the wing like eagles. They run and are not weary. They walk and do not faint. Wink, wink. See, Abba, he's got all the right moves, always. Be silent before me, you coastlands, and let people renew their power. Now, you see, this is why we have to always remember that all words are more than all the way necessary. That every word, all I read right there was 8 words, and listen to what it tells you. Be silent before me. There's 4, you coastlands, and let peoples renew their power. About 10 maybe. How can the peoples renew their power? By the coastlands being silent. And if you don't believe that that's what this is meaning, what this is getting at, the reason if you think that that's not the reason he said those words, well, see, that's the problem. You got to take all of them. They're all necessary. Be silent before me, you coastlands, and let peoples renew their power. You know how you renew your power? When you realize who you are and you come home. You're a part of the family. You're under the shadow of his wing. You can't be touched. But as long as the coastlands, you know, that place, the Strip and Isis Rael that's in the news every day, that coastland area right there, it needs to be silent about where your place of origin is, and the place where the Most High placed his name, because that's been a lie designed to destroy, and it's destroyed, and it's mopping the floor with the world right now, doing them like a rag doll. But as soon as you find it within you to silence that noise that they produce, and you turn and you allow Yerushalayim to come to your heart, your strength begins to be renewed, and there's no limit to it. There's no stopping it as long as you don't stop. Let them come near, then let them speak. Let us come together for right ruling. Let them come near. Who raised up the righteous one from the east, called him to his foot, gave the nations before him, and made sovereigns submit to him. He gave them as the dust to his sword, as driven stubble to his bow. And he did. You know, like I always joke, like slicing and dicing. He, you know, like Zorro, he sliced and diced them. He did. Here since October 7th, it's been nothing but a slicing and a dicing. And even since like the 23rd of September, as far as the image of the beast stuff goes. Since like September 23rd, it's been an onslaught of him exposing the hoe, exposing her nakedness, her shame to the world, and especially to his children. And it's a rout. He's mossing them right now. He pursued them, passed over in safety by a path that he had not gone with his feet. Who has performed and done it, calling the generations from the beginning? I, Yahuwah, am the first, and with the last I am he. Coastlands see it and fear. The ends of the earth are afraid. They draw near and come. And now, one thing I can mention to you, and I won't go look for it right now, but you can look it up, is there's a spot in the Word where it says, the Most High says that Yerushalayim isn't a place where big ships pass by. That it's a place of rivers and streams, and that it's in the interior, surrounded by mountains, with 7 mighty mountains in it. And he always lets you know that the coastland is the imposter. And you can go through Isaiah, Jeremiah, Ezekiel, Zechariah, all over the place, Revelations. And he uses that to just like bunch them all up, like the Gazans, the Palestinians, and the ones there doing the smashing, and other ones right there beside them. Ashkelon, Ashdod, all that stuff. Who has performed and done it, calling the generations from the beginning? I, Yahuwah, am the first, and with the last I am he. Coastlands see it and fear. The ends of the earth are afraid. They draw near and come. Everyone helps his neighbor and says to his brother, be strong. And the craftsman strengthens the goldsmith. He who smooths with the hammer inspires him who strikes the anvil, saying of the joining, it is good. And he strengthens it with nails, so it does not totter. And see that this is what's happening. And that's what happened in 1948. But you, Yasharal, are my servant, Jacob, whom I have chosen, the descendants of Abraham who love me. See, and that's why he tells him, that's why he's telling you that. That's just all the proof you should need. That what I just said, that what they're strengthening to not totter is Isis Ra'el, the image of the beast. If you don't believe that, well, listen to what verse 8 says. He says, they do that, but you, Yasharal, are my servant, Jacob, whom I have chosen, the descendants of Abraham who loved me. It's like, hello, why would he say that? You should know why he said that. He said that because just before that, he was talking about someone who claims to be my servant, whom I chosen, the descendants of Abraham who love me. I mean, it's common sense. See, and I've been saying that it's all through the Bible from front to back, side to side, but we couldn't have seen it before because it could only be understood in the time we're in because of things we know about certain words now that people before didn't know. That's how it's happened. And the only reason someone won't see that what I just said is true, the reason they won't see it is because of pride. They believe that there's no way. That ain't no scum bucket like myself could know anything like that. That they know what it means and what it says, and it's not what it means and what it says. So their pride prevents them, and the Most High tells us that all through His Word, that it's pride that does it. That you have to, it says humility comes before esteem. You have to be humble, but pride comes before destruction. You see, it doesn't matter how old you are, how much you've read, you always have to remain teachable and never look down your nose, always look up it and never be bigger or think that you're bigger than the Word. A little child might see something in it, reading it, that you never saw before, and you've studied it. Because the Most High, He's the one. He does. He's the one that calls the shots. You don't. But do you see how the world, it's so prideful, and it's in the worst way because they don't realize that it's pride. They don't look at it like that. They don't look at it like them claiming to be the Most High and calling the shots. They don't want to, but however they feel about it, whatever they think it is, it's them acting prideful and acting like they, or that the Most High could never put a secret meaning or hidden meaning in His Word. Whom I have strengthened from the ends of the earth and called from its farthest parts and said to you, you are my servant. I have chosen you and have not rejected you. Do not fear, for I am with you. Do not look around, for I am your mighty Most High. I shall fortify you. I shall also help you. I shall also uphold you with the right hand of my righteousness. See, all those who raged against you are ashamed and blush. They are as non-existent, and the men who strive with you perish. You seek them, but do not find them. Those who struggle with you, those who fight you are as non-existent as nata. For I, Yahuwah, your mighty Most High, am strengthening you, your right hand, saying to you, do not fear, I shall help you. Strengthening your right hand. What's that mean? That doesn't mean He's going to strengthen your gardening skill, your garden skills. No, you're the word in your hand, the truth. He's going to pour out his spirit, make his words known to you. The right hand is his word. It's the truth, and it's the way to life. For I, Yahuwah, your mighty Most High, am strengthening your right hand, saying to you, do not fear, I shall help you. Do not fear, you worm Jacob, you men of Yasharal, I shall help you, declares Yahuwah, and your Redeemer, the set-apart one of Yasharal. See, I shall make you into a new threshing sledge with sharp teeth, let you thresh mountains and beat them small and make hills like chaff. See, do you think he was literal about that? He wasn't, was he? So, yeah, he's going to strengthen your right hand, and he's letting you know you got nothing to fear. When you follow this truth, don't feel like you're being asked to step out on a ledge where you might fall, you know. Like when you see this truth and you're like, oh man, it is saying that. Don't be afraid of just, of closing that door because of what it means and how big it is, because it's big and it'll throw you into shock when you start to see the size of this thing, when it starts to dawn on you what it actually is and what everyone's doing and what we've all been doing. When that happens, you might go into shock, but keep in mind, you don't need to fear. All you need to do is move forward in it and just go and be a brother or a sister or a daughter or a son. Be a lover of the word and of the Most High, and use what he pours out onto you to expose wickedness and lies and call our brothers and sisters to safety, to freedom. Warn them. And when you do, when you're doing that, you're destroying mountains and beating them small, making hills like chaff. You winnow them, the wind lifts them up, and the whirlwind scatters them. But you rejoice in Yahuwah and boast in the set-apart one of Yasharal. And that's happening right now. When you speak the good news of the rain, the true good news, and that is what we're talking about right now, that the image of the beast has profaned the set-apart place, the land, and the rain is in the set-apart land, on his mountain, and there ain't no one going to come in between him setting his foot down there. It don't matter. It doesn't matter, all the armies, and they're all going to come together to try to stop that from happening, but it's not going to matter. And the only place of refuge, and he tells us all through his word, is right underneath his wings, literally. And when people hear that good news of the rain, and how good is it? You don't have to take any chances. You don't have to roll the dice on your life and risk your life like that. All you got to do is come home. But you couldn't just come to the place and live. It's not going to be like that. The Most High ain't no dummy. You have to love your home. You have to love that place, desire to go back, be disgusted with this humiliation of it. I mean, and there's a lot of steps you're going to have to take. You're going to have to acknowledge the truth of it and no longer support it. Not only that, you can't just go home and remain quiet about it and act like you didn't see it. No, once you do, blood will be on your hands if you don't share the good news. That's just the per of the word, right? I mean, you've read that just as much as I have. So you're going to have to share that good news. And then no matter what it cost you, if that's the point, see, if you start to share that good news, the world's going to ridicule you and mock you, make fun of you. You'll lose your friends. You'll lose everything when it comes to this world. You might lose your children, your job, all kinds of stuff, your home. But don't let that stop you, because if you do, well, I can't help. I don't know. I can't speak to your fantasies, how to address, what's going on in your fantasy. But in reality, if you don't love the Most High, and you don't long to serve Him and live with Him, not in any other place and town on this world, on the earth, but in His place, our inheritance. If you don't long for that, you're not who you say you are. But if you do, I pray that you do see this truth, that you see how you have to follow the Lamb, that you do have to be in the house. Come Passover, come Passah, and you survive. If that's you, you can boast in the set apart one of Yasharal. You don't have to tiptoe around and be like, well, and be uncertain about what, of your expectation, of your expectancy. You can be standing on that rock right now, firm foundation. When the poor and needy seek water, and there is none, and their tongues have failed for thirst, I, Yahuwah, do answer them. I, the mighty Most High of Yasharal, do not forsake them. There you go. All you have to do is ask. Ask for this latter rain. Ask the Most High to show you. And when He shows you, you might go into shock. I open rivers on bare hills and fountains in the midst of valleys. I make a wilderness become a pool of water, and a dry land springs of water. So when you think, if you get to thinking that there's no way this could be true, that there's no way it don't make sense and it's just impossible. No, the Most High will make water spring forth in the desert. He will make it happen. Trust me. I set in the wilderness cedar, acacia, and myrtle, and oil tree. I place in the desert cypress, pine, and box tree together, so that they see and know and consider and understand together that the hand of Yahuwah has done this, and the set apart one of Yasharal has created it. And there you go. And that's one thing that's so beautiful about what He does, about His work, that slicing and dicing, those moves, is when you're a lover of the word and you are starting to gain understanding of what some of these words mean, and you see how you went wrong before because you thought it meant this, and then when you get to the truth of it, then it opens up a whole other door over here to go on to more truth, and it starts blowing your mind. And that's when you might go into shock when you see it all. Well, as that's happening, it gives you confirmation, like pure confirmation that, oh yeah, this is Abba. I mean, yeah, He said this is what He's going to do. And it's like it's the building blocks of your faith. You're building your faith as you go, because you know that it was Him that did it, and that it's just like He just said. He said, so that they see and know and consider and understand together that the hand of Yahuwah has done this, and the set apart one of Yasharal has created it. When you start realizing the truth about the image of the beast, you'll realize that it was the Most High, and you'll see His handiwork, and you'll be like, oh yeah, I'm getting under His wing. Because it's that amazing. It's that amazing. Present your case, says Yahuwah. Let your strong ones come near, says the sovereign of Jacob. Let them draw near and declare to us what is going to take place. Let them declare the former events, what they were, and we consider them, and know the latter end of them, or announce to us what is coming. And look, that's true. Every theory that these people live by, that they've bought, like the rapture theory or whatever it is, whatever their expectation is. And hey, I mean, there's 2 billion Christians on the earth today, and 2 billion Muslims, and whatever other religions. I mean, there should be a lot of people that have an expectation, right? Otherwise, they're just all full of shit, and they're just pretend that they're religious and whatever, but they don't really plan on going anywhere, or they don't know. Well, the reason those people that have those wild fantasies, the reason they have them fantasies and they don't know what's coming, like some people say that the rapture, pre-trib, and then some people are saying we're not in the tribulation, and all these different things. And they got no idea what their latter end is. But you see, the word tells us. You can know for sure. There will be no debate. The latter end is that his children come home. He whistles for them, and those who hear and come home and get under the shadow of his wings, they will survive, and that is their escape. And the rest of the earth, all around that circle, like the eye of a storm, is going to be destroyed. That's what's going to happen. And when it's over with, only the ones that are standing in that circle under his wings will live. That's not me trying to be bad. If I wasn't in the circle, I would be saying that I got to get to the circle or I'm going to die. That's just truth. That's not me. I'm not trying to, I hope no one takes that as me being arrogant, acting like I'm better than you, so that's why I get to. I hope no one thinks that, because my gosh, there should be no reason. You should have no reason to have thought that. You should know that I'm saying it because the word says that all through it, everywhere. Let's see if we can get through this chapter without seeing it right here. Let them draw near and declare to us what is going to take place. Let them declare the former events what they were, and we consider them and know the latter end of them, or announce to us what is coming. Declare the events that are going to come hereafter, and we know that you are mighty ones. Yes, do good or do evil, and let us be amazed and see it together. See, you are of naught, and your work is a breath. He who chooses you is an abomination. If you choose those theories, those things, those expectations, it makes you an abomination. I have stirred up one from the north, and he comes from the rising of the sun. He calls on my name, and he comes against princes as though mortar, as the potter's clay, as the potter treads clay. Who has declared from the beginning, and we know, and former times, and we say, he is righteous? No one is declaring. No one is proclaiming. No one is hearing your words. He who was first said to Sion, see them. And Jerusalem, I give one who brings good news. And I see that there is no man, and of these there is no counselor, who, when I ask of them, answers a word. See, all of them are useless. Their works are not. Their molded images are wind and confusion. Well, you might have got me on that last one there, on the end of 41. It might not have said that you got to get in the eye of the storm in Jerusalem, but it was close. Let's see what 42 has to say. See, my servant whom I uphold, my chosen one, my being has delighted in. I have put my spirit upon him. He brings forth right ruling to the nations. He does not cry out, nor lifts up his voice, nor causes his voice to be heard in the street. A crushed reed he does not break, and smoking flax he does not quench. He brings forth right ruling in accordance with truth. He does not become weak or crushed until he has established right ruling in the earth, and the coastlands wait for his Torah. Thus said the mighty one, Yahuwah, who created the heavens and stretched them out, who spread forth the earth and that which comes from it, who gives breath to the people on it and spirit to those who walk on it. I, Yahuwah, have called you in righteousness, and I strengthen your hand and guard you, and give you for a covenant to a people, for a light to the nations, to open blind eyes, to bring prisoners from the prison, those who sit in darkness from the prison house. There you go. There's the image of the beast. To bring out prisoners from the prison, to open their eyes, the blind eyes, to get them out of the prison. The people who sit in darkness from the prison house. What's the prison house? And if anyone wants to come up with other ideas and say that it's not Isis Ra'el, okay, I'll humor you and we can entertain another theory. But before we do that, just humor me a little. How big of a, how dark of a prison house would Isis Ra'el be if what I'm saying is true? Be pretty big, dark prison house, wouldn't it? Look at all the adoration it gets, all the devotion, the declarations of allegiance that it gets from the world. Look at how the world reveres it and cherishes it. They go there just to get baptized in the Jordan. Humor me a little bit. If that is the truth, what I'm saying, I mean, that's a pretty broad-reaching, all-encompassing prison house, isn't it? Yeah, that's because it is. I am Yahuwah, that is my name, and my esteem I do not give to another, nor my praise to idols. See? See that? That's what he was like, yeah, what Dottie just said. See, the former predictions have come, and new ones I am declaring. Before they spring forth, I let you hear them. Sing to Yahuwah a new song, his praise from the ends of the earth, you who go down to the sea and all that is in it, you coastlands and you inhabitants of them. Let the wilderness and its cities lift up their voice, the villages where Kedar dwells. Let the inhabitants of Salah sing, let them shout from the top of the mountains. Let them give esteem to Yahuwah and declare his praise in the coastlands. Yahuwah goes forth like a mighty man. He stirs up our door like a fighter. He cries out, yes, shout aloud over his enemies. He shows himself mighty. I have kept silent from of old. I have been still and held myself back. Like a woman in labor, I now cry out. I pant and gasp at once. And you've been hearing it. And that goes to show you where we are. What is it, oh, I don't want to sound like an idiot. The second trimester or whatever. What is that when the woman's in labor and she's dilated? The baby's coming. Yeah, that's where we are right now. He's been crying out. I lay waste mountains and hills, and I dry up all their plants, and I shall make rivers become coastlands, and I dry up pools. And I shall lead the blind by a way they have not known. In paths they have not known, I lead them. I make darkness light before them, and crooked places straight. These matters I shall do for them, and I shall not forsake them. Those who trust in idols, who say to the molded images, you are our mighty ones, shall be turned back, utterly ashamed. Now, this is where humility comes in to play. If you can't ask yourself and honestly look to see if there is something that could be considered a molded image, an idol, that you're putting your trust in, whether you know it or not. If you can't look, just examine what it is you do and who you support, If you can't look into that to see if maybe, just to make sure, if you can't look into that, that means you are full of pride. You're not humble. If you are humble, you'll look into it. And if you find that you are bowing down to an image, an idol, you must have the humility to stop and to admit that you were wrong. Confess it and move forward from it. That's the only way. The only other way is denial, which leads to death. Because if you don't know where your home is, you've bowed, you've trusted in idols. If you don't think you need to care about it, you're trusting the rapture, you're trusting in idols, molded images. Man-made weapons of slaughter machines. That's what those are. Hear, you deaf, and look, you blind, and see. Who is blind but my servant, or deaf as my messenger whom I send? Who is blind as he who is at peace, and blind as servant of Yahuwah? You see much, but do not guard. Ears are open, but do not hear. Now you see, now look, this is why you're going to have to keep eating the humble pie. You can't let go of humility for a second. He's talking to those who claim to serve him. He ain't talking to people at a Slipknot concert. He's talking to people who are, judging by their profile pics and their social media, judging by that, they're servants of his. And they believe, and they, So he's talking to those type of people, saying, hear, you deaf, and look, you blind, and see. Who is as blind as them? And he's not lying. Who could be more blind than them people who are saying they serve the Most High, but they're not seeing what he's trying to show them. They're not hearing it. You see much, but do not guard. Ears are open, but do not hear. It has delighted Yahuwah for the sake of his righteousness to make the Torah great and esteemed. But this is a people robbed and plundered. Like he's saying, I'm happy that you, for the sake of righteousness, you attempt to make the Torah great and esteemed. That's amazing. Hallelujah, Yahuwah, good for you, my friend. But understand that you are being robbed and plundered. All of them are snared in holes, and they are hidden in prison houses. Do you understand? And if you were just thinking, I'm not blind, I'm not deaf, I know what the Most High says. I hope you do. I really do. Don't think that I don't. But my friend, if you or I or whoever, if we are living in any town in the world, in any part of the world, if we are in any part of the world other than our inherited land, the land flowing with milk and honey, we are in prison houses, hidden, and don't know it. That's not where our family resides. It's in Yerushalayim. And like I've been saying, I'm going to keep saying it. If you think that place over there is our inherited land, then you best get to going over there. Because, you don't want to be like these Christians who believe there's the Jews and the church. Like, there's two brides. Like, one of them's his side piece and the other. What do they think? No. There's one bride. And that's it. And we're all family. And blood, yes, it's thicker than water. And we all came because, when you're invited to the wedding, it's family. What kind of jerk is not going to show up? and be a part of the family. Someone who doesn't want to be part of the family, it's common sense. They live in a prison house. They just don't see it. They love it. They deck it out, but it's for nothing, in vain. It only angers him more when you do. They have become a prey with no one to deliver, for plunder, and no one to say, restore. There you go. Let's read that again, verse 22. But this is a people robbed and plundered. All of them are snared in holes, and they are hidden in prison houses. They have become a prey with no one to deliver, for plunder, and no one to say, restore. Do you hear me? I'm saying it, restore, but other than me, I don't know anyone else that's saying it. I hope there is. I hope you do. I hope you start to share this message. Don't overlook this message. Don't overlook Yerushalayim, the place where we are to celebrate the feast days, the days the Creator, who you say you serve, told us to partake in. And it's just, I don't understand how people believe that they can be, how for a second we thought that we are children of the Most High and not one time thought about our home. And like I said, if I'm sure there's people that's going to say, okay, well, let's think about Jerusalem. Well, if that's the case, then you better get over there, because that's your home. But like I said, you best do your research. Be diligent, because if you don't and you go over there, you're going to die, because that's not your home. That is the imposter. That's that polar opposite place that's destroying everyone. We need to restore. Who among you gives ear to this, pays attention and hears for the time to come? Who among you? Who gave Jacob for plunder and Yasharal to the robbers? Who did it? Was it not Yahuwah, he against whom we sinned? For they would not walk in his ways, and they did not obey his Torah. So he has poured on him his burning displeasure and the strength of battle, and it set him on fire all around. Yet he did not understand, and it burned against him, yet he did not take it to heart. Do you see? He's talking about someone who esteems the Torah and his name, the Most High's name, and says they are Yasharal. That's who he's talking about. But he's letting you know that they're blind and they're being burned. It burned against him all around, a fire. And he don't understand it. He don't take it to heart. He can't see it because he's refusing to see it. Enter humility. But now, thus said Yahuwah, your creator, O Jacob, and he who formed you, O Yasharal, do not fear, for I have redeemed you. I have called you by your name. You are mine. I have redeemed you. See, and this was written, this is Isaiah. This was before the Messiah. He redeemed us. And how did he redeem us? Because the Messiah came and said, look, guys, you want to live? This is what you got to do. Do it like this. You know, it ain't got to be just like this, but like this. And you can live. This is you coming. You got to come home. And like I said, right now, you know, we don't have to go and get strung up on a stake. But, you know, there might come a time if you don't realize this truth before it's too late, you know, you might realize it when it's too late and try to get to the spot and do what's right. And then get hung up for trying to do it then. But that's why you need to be here now. Be here now. And I want to say something now that I'm deep into this video, because there's some things, you know, that I would love to be telling you guys and sharing with you, but I can't and for good reason. And in person, I would love to tell you about it. But there's some things that I found about this place that it's so amazing. It's the most amazing thing. His throne is here in this land, and he says that all through his word. But I found something that I would show anyone in private that I am pretty sure ain't a bot that I know. I will show it to you, and maybe someday, Abba willing, that's up to him. He calls the shots. Maybe someday I'll talk about it on here. I don't know, but it's the most amazing thing ever. But here's what I know too. There would be no sense in me telling anyone about it the only way I would tell someone is if they've already seen who the image of the beast is. They're already coming home. They see they got to come home. Then I'd start telling you, because it would do no use for me to tell you now if you don't believe all that. So I have redeemed you. I have called you by your name. You are mine. When you pass through the waters, I am with you, and through rivers, they do not overflow you. When you walk through fire, you are not scorched, and a flame does not burn you. For I am Yahuwah, your mighty Most High, the set-apart one of Yasharal, your Savior. I gave Mitzrayim, Egypt, for your ransom, Cush and Sabah in your place. Since you were precious in my eyes, you have been esteemed, and I have loved you, and I give men in your place and people for your life. Do not fear, for I am with you. I shall bring your seed from the east and gather you from the west. I shall say to the north, give them up, and to the south, do not keep them back. Bring my sons from afar and my daughters from the ends of the earth. All those who are called by my name, whom I have created, formed, even made for my esteem. He shall bring out a blind people who have eyes, deaf ones who have ears. All the nations shall be assembled, and the peoples to be gathered. Who among them declares this, and show us former events? Let them give their witnesses to be declared right, or let them hear and say it is truth. You are my witnesses, declares Yahuwah, and my servant whom I have chosen, so that you know and believe me and understand that I am he. And that's what seeing things from the pitcher's mount does. And you're seeing what he's saying, and you're understanding it for what he's saying, and you see it happen, and then you know it's him. You're like, oh yeah, this is what's happening. This is it. And it solidifies your faith, because you done been watching the slicing and the dicing, all those right moves. You're hip to what time it is. Before me there was no El form, nor after me there is none. I am Yahuwah, and besides me there is no Savior. I have declared and saved and made known. And there was no foreign mighty one among you, and you are my witnesses, declares Yahuwah, that I am the mighty one. Even from the day I am he, and no one delivers out of my hand. I work, and who turns it back? Thus said Yahuwah, your Redeemer, the set-apart one of Yasharal. For your sake I shall send to Babel, and bring them all down as fugitives, even the Kasdim who rejoice in their ships. America. I am Yahuwah, your set-apart one, creator of Yasharal, your sovereign. Thus said Yahuwah, who makes a way in the sea and a path through the mighty waters, who brings forth the chariot and horse, the army and the power. They lie down together, they do not rise, they have been extinguished, they have been quenched like a wick. Do not remember the former events, nor consider the events of old. See, I am doing what is new, let it now spring forth. Do you not know it? I am even making a way in the wilderness and rivers in the desert. The beast of the field esteems me, the jackals and the ostriches, because I have given waters in the wilderness and rivers in the desert, to give drink to my people, my chosen. This people I have formed for myself. Let them relate my praise. But you have not called on me, O Jacob, for you have been weary of me, O Yasharal. You have not brought me the sheep for your ascending offerings, nor have you esteemed me with your slaughterings. I have not caused you to serve with grain offerings, nor wearied you with incense. You have not bought me sweet cane with silver, nor have you satisfied me with the fat of your slaughterings. You have only burdened me with your sins. You have wearied me with your crookednesses. I am he who blots out your transgressions for my own sake, and remember your sins no more. Remind me, let us enter into judgment together. Relate, that you might be declared right. Your first father sinned, and your interpreters have transgressed against me. So I have profaned the chief ones of the set-apart place, and I have delivered up Jacob to the curse, and Yasharal to scorn. There you go. That lets you know what the curse is that he's talking about. And he lets you know that it's directly involved with the set-apart place. The chief ones of the set-apart place, that's Isis Rael, who the world esteems. And they declare the chiefs. And that's how he delivered up Jacob to the curse, and Yasharal to scorn. It's the snare, the trap that was set, and you have to come out. And don't see, the pride keeps people from coming out because they think, oh, I'm too smart to have not seen that. There ain't no way that could be the case. I would have known if that was the image of the beast. Right there, you're dead. Pride comes before destruction. The best thing to do is think to yourself, don't think that there's no way that only an idiot would not see it, Don't think that you're too smart. You need to think, well, compared to the Most High, I am an epic dumbass. And there's no doubt that his understanding is way above mine. So how could I know if he hid something in the Word or not? How could I know? Now, why would I say that he hasn't? So let me go read it and look and just give it a thorough examination with no pride. And if it's true, then that's the truth. See? You see how pride prevents anyone from hearing the Word? And humility is the key to opening the Word up. But now hear, O Jacob, my servant, and Yasharal, whom I have chosen. Thus said Yahuwah, who made you and formed you from the womb, who helps you. Do not fear, O Jacob, my servant, and Yeshurun, whom I have chosen. For I pour water on the thirsty and floods on the dry ground. I pour my spirit on your seed and my blessing on your offspring. And they shall spring up among the grass like willows by streams of water. One says, I belong to Yahuwah. Another calls himself by the name of Jacob. Another writes with his hand unto Yahuwah and names himself by the name of Yasharal. Sound familiar? You see now that the whole time he's been talking about Yasharal, Messianic, Hebrew Israelite people, and Jews, and whoever called and uses the name, says that he's their redeemer, all that stuff, calls himself by the name of Jacob, says that what he does is unto Yahuwah, names himself by the name of Yasharal. Thus said Yahuwah, sovereign Yasharal, and his redeemer, Yahuwah of hosts, I am the first and I am the last. Besides me there is no mighty Most High. And who is like me? Let him call and declare it and lay it before me, since I appointed the everlasting people and the events that are coming and those that do come. Let them declare these to them. Do not fear nor be afraid. Have I not since made you hear and declared it? You are my witnesses. Is there a mighty one besides me? There is no other rock. I know not one. Those who make an idol All of them are emptiness, and their delights do not profit. And they are their own witnesses. They neither see nor know, so that they are put to shame. And see, you always have to remember, whenever you see make an idol, understand immediately that he's not, don't picture a man with a literal piece of wood or whatever, making like a statue. That's not what he's talking about. He's talking about whatever it is that man has made that causes him and or other men, people, women, to obey it. That's what that is. They're all emptiness. If there's anything that tells you that you don't have to, that you shouldn't care about your inheritance and you shouldn't come home to your inheritance, that's how you categorize and separate what's true and what ain't. Whatever there is on this earth that tells you not to go to your inherited land, or that just has you distracted where you're not thinking about it, whatever. The only truth is that you have to, if you want to live, you got to be, if you want to be who you say you are, you have to be part of who you say you are, and that's Yasharal. You have to be there, where it is, with your brethren and your father. And that's how much mercy and grace the Most High has too. He's not into kidnapping. He gives you the choice. You can either come home to me, because otherwise anything else would be abduction. Don't get it twisted. It would be taking you against your will because you don't want to leave right now. He would have to take you against your will. That's how amazing he is. He gave you the invite. He's told you through his word that you would understand this in the end, these riddles, and that someone would be telling them to you, reading from his book, and that's the invite, and all you got to do is take it and just come home, do what you're supposed to, and be who you claim to be. But if you don't, you clearly didn't want to. He's not going to kidnap you. He's give you the option. So, and anything that don't tell you to come home and be a part of the family, it don't know nothing. Any of those theories, they're all false. There's not going to be a twinkling. There's not going to be all the things that these people talk about on YouTube, all that stuff. It's not going to happen unless it's what the word says is going to happen. Who would form a mighty one or cast an idol that is of no value? See, all his companions are ashamed, and the workmen, they are but men. Let them all be gathered together. Let them stand up. Let them fear. Let them be put to shame altogether. The craftsman in iron with the tools works one in the coals, and fashions it with hammers, and works it with the strength of his arms. Even so he shall be hungry and has no strength. He drinks no water and is weary. Now see, that last part, he drinks no water and is weary, that lets you know that's him slapping your desk saying, wake up. I'm not talking about a regular craftsman here, a smith. Why can't the craftsman drink water if he's weary, and is weary? See, he's letting you know that was a parable. That was a riddle. The craftsman is those who made Isis Rahel, the Rothschilds, the Masons, whoever they are, and they exist. I mean, you can see the evidence of them everywhere. They did this, but ultimately the Most High did it because he let it happen. He opened the cage, let him out the cage, the enemy, to do this to people. And the Most High is the Most High, and the enemy, he's ancient. That these people who are 60, 40 years old think they know more than the Most High or the enemy. It's foolishness. The carpenter stretches out his rule. He outlines it with chalk, he fashions it with a plane, and he outlines it with the compass, and makes it like a figure of a man, according to the comeliness of a man, to remain in the house. He cuts down cedars for himself, and takes cypress and oak, which he raised among the trees of the forest. He has planted a pine, and the rain nourishes it. And it shall be for a man to burn, for he takes some of it and warms himself. He also kindles it and shall bake bread. He also makes a mighty one and bows himself to it, has made it a carved image and falls down before it. Half of it he shall burn in the fire. With this half he eats meat. He roasts a roast and is satisfied. He also warms himself and says, Aha, I am warm. I have seen the fire. Now you see, you need to understand this tree. It's the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. It's not the Christmas tree. He roasts a roast. You're only supposed to roast, on Passover. Abba's alluding to Passover right there. With the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, the man, the craftsman, it's a metaphor. He's speaking in parables and figures of speech. The craftsman, he's talking about the one who made this decoy. And he also makes a mighty one and bows himself to it. And made it. And everyone who's involved has made it themselves too. If you believe that Isis Ra'el is the Holy Land and you stand with Isis Ra'el, you made that. That's you no one has forced you to say that. You said that on your own. So that's what he's getting at. Babylon, if when he says Babylon, he's talking about the whole kit and caboodle, the whole pie, not just one part of it. Anyone who's a part of Babylon is Babylon. Half of it he shall burn. Oh, I just read that. He roasts a roast and is satisfied. He also warms himself and says, Aha, I am warm, I have seen the fire. And the rest of it he makes into a mighty one, his carved image. He falls down before it and worships praise to it and says, Deliver me, for you are my mighty one. And again, this ain't literal. They ain't literally saying that, but they are. Their actions. The Messiah, he didn't literally drink from a cup, did he? Was he asking the Messiah that he didn't have to drink from a literal cup? No. See, it's a metaphor. It's figures of speech. The people do say to Isis Ra'el, Deliver me, for you are my mighty one. Because I'll put my faith in what you said. I'll take your word for it. I won't take the butcher's word for it. I'd rather stick my head up the rear end of a cow and get a good look at a T-bone than to take the butcher's word for it. Do you see? That's how you bow down. That's how you say to that image, Deliver me, for you are my mighty one. See, and if you don't believe that, that's what he's getting at, if you think that this is literal, you're being destroyed. You have to understand that the Most High, he is chief, and you are not. They do not know nor understand, for he has smeared their eyes from seeing and their hearts from understanding. You see, he went from that to that. And no one recalls it to his heart, nor is there knowledge nor understanding to say, I have burned half of it in the fire, and I have also baked bread on its coals. I have roasted meat and eaten it. And shall I make the rest of it an abomination? Should I fall down before a log of wood? Now you see, you could be someone like a Messianic or something that's decided to stop celebrating Christmas, Easter, those pagan holidays, and you've decided to start looking into the feast days and you begin to try and celebrate them and partake. You know, that's bad enough, because the rule is you can't have Passover unless you're in Jerusalem. That's the rule. So if you have it outside of Jerusalem and you just don't care what it says, what are you? It's an abomination, my friends. That's what it is. You're saying, I don't care what you said, Abba. I'm having it right here. You see, you can't. So that's bad enough. And you do that because of Isis Ra'el, what you've heard coming out of Isis Ra'el, the image of the beast. So, you know, it's bad enough that you're not willing to only do Passover in Jerusalem. That's bad enough. But if you take a step back and look at what the world is doing with Isis Ra'el, they are bowing down to it. And they're being destroyed, gladly bowing to it, to the whole thing. It's an abomination. Feeding on ashes, a deceived heart turns him aside, and he does not deliver his being, nor says, is there not a lie in my right hand? You see, feeding on ashes, a deceived heart turns him aside. Feeding on ashes, that's buying this bullshit, believing it, talking about it, not seeing the truth of it. So you don't deliver your being, and never do say, is there not a lie in my right hand? See? Remember these matters, O Jacob and Yasharal. So, and what he says, is there not a lie in my right hand? He's letting you know who he's talking about. The lie that you're believing, that's got you that you're feeding on ashes, is got to do with the Messiah. Your right hand is a lie. Remember these matters, O Jacob and Yasharal, for you are my servant. I have formed you. You are my servant, O Yasharal. Do not forget me. I shall wipe out your transgressions like a cloud and your sins like a mist. Return to me, for I shall redeem you. Sing, O heavens, for Yahuwah shall do it. Shout, O depths of the earth. Break forth into singing, O mountains, forest, and every tree in it. For Yahuwah shall redeem Jacob and make himself clear in Yasharal. Make himself clear. Does he make himself clear to you? Thus said Yahuwah, your Redeemer, and he who formed you from the womb. I am Yahuwah, doing all, stretching out the heavens all alone, spreading out the earth with none besides me. So any truth, he's the one that gives you the truth and sends it out. There ain't no one else. Whatever comes from them ain't the truth. Frustrating the signs of the babblers and driving diviners mad, turning wise men backward and making their knowledge foolish. See? Anything you get from them, it's just foolish, and it drives them mad because they just keep trying to guess and play psychic and predict dates and stuff, and they don't even know what's happening to them right now. I could go on. We could go on YouTube right now, or Facebook, wherever you want to go, and we're gonna see tons of people condemning other people because they do this or they do that, and you see what I'm saying? But all of it, they don't understand that they are sitting in the prison house, condemn themselves. And like I said, I'm not saying that I'm not because I think I'm better and I'm not as good. There's tons of people. I'm the worst. I'm not better than anyone. That's the thing. The Most High gave me this truth. I didn't get it from anywhere else. He gave it to me. He's the one that sends this water. He does it. Confirming the word of his servant and completing the counsel of his messengers, who says of Jerusalem, be inhabited, and of the cities of Yehuda, they shall be built, and her ruins raised up by me. Confirming the word of his servant. You see, and all this word that I've been speaking about this, it's being confirmed, and it's only going to be confirmed to you even more. And I'm not saying I've got every aspect right and I haven't been incorrect about things, but the message, the overall message that you have to return That is the truth. There is no incorrectness about that. You have to. That's following the Lamb. And it's being confirmed. And look, if for those of you who've been here, how long was I talking about what's going on over there before it happened? How could I have known that? I didn't. I seen it in the Word, and I just repeated it. That's all I did. So, confirming the word of his servant and completing the counsel of his messengers, who says of Jerusalem. So his servant, the word of his servant is being confirmed, and the completing of the counsel of his messengers of Isaiah, Jeremiah, the prophets, Moses, Elijah, all those guys. What they've been saying this whole time. This is what 26 is saying. He's saying that his servant that he's talking about, and the prophets, Moses, Isaiah, all them guys, Ezekiel, what they were saying was of Jerusalem be inhabited, and of the cities of Yehuda they shall be built, and her ruins raised up by me. And that's what I've been telling you. That's exactly what they say. The prophets, all of the prophets are telling you just that. Who is saying to the deep, be dry, and your rivers I dry up? The deep, the pit of the deep. That's the lies. The enemy put the truth about Jerusalem in the pit of the deep, and he come up out of the pit of the deep and goes back to the, you see what I'm saying? That's why on the body snatchers it says they come from deep space, just like the pit of the deep. It's all the same thing. He's going to make that dry up. All the lies and the shadow, the darkness, he's going to destroy. For you, for those of you who want to see the truth, like me, when you desire to see the truth and to see if we are living in the shadow of death or not, and if you do, and you ask him for that truth, and he starts to show you, you might go into shock, but you'll see that those rivers dried up. Who is saying of Koresh, he is my shepherd, and he completes all my pleasure, even saying to Jerusalem, let her be built, and to the Hakal, let her foundation be laid. All right, now because we're in chapter 45, and I want to establish Jerusalem as glorious and magnificent in the eyes of the world. I want to esteem it and esteem the Most High, and because of that, I'm going to read 45 in honor of my set apart land, which lies in, part of which lies in the state of Utah, which is the 45th state of America. Thus said Yahuwah to his anointed, to Koresh, whose right hand I have strengthened to subdue nations before him and ungird the loins of sovereigns, to open before him the double doors so that the gates are not shut. There's the double, the gemination. I go before you and make the crooked places straight. I shatter the gates of bronze and cut down the bars of iron. There you go. If you don't believe what I'm saying, all you got to do is ask the Most High. And I mean, what are you afraid of? If you won't ask him, I mean, who do you think you are? And what's he going to do? What's he going to do? Bite you and punish you for asking to know the truth? No, he's always going to reward you, bless you, if you ask for righteousness, for truth's sake, so you can know the truth. Honestly, he's going to reward you, and when you ask, he's going to make all those crooked places straight. He's going to shatter the gates of bronze and cut down the bars of iron, and you can see through all that BS. And I shall give you the treasures of darkness and hoarded wealth of secret places. Do you see? There's secret places. And just because you didn't know it, what's that mean? What's that matter? Who are you? The Most High made the places, all the places. And if he wants a secret place and keep a place a secret from you, well, what are you going to do about it? You can't do nothing about it, can you? Come on. Agree with me. Be in agreement with me that we know nothing. That all we can do is give all esteem, face down, and do as we're told. Aye, sir. Yes, sir. So that you know that I, Yahuwah, who are calling you by your name, am the mighty Most High Yasharal, for the sake of Jacob, my servant, and of Yasharal, my chosen. I also call you by your name. I give you a title, though you have not known me. I am Yahuwah, and there is none else. There is no mighty one besides me. I gird you, though you have not known me, so that they know from the rising of the sun to its setting that there is none but me. I am Yahuwah, and there is none else. Forming light and creating darkness, making peace and creating evil. I, Yahuwah, do all these. There you go. Don't ever forget it. Don't ever forget that. Don't ever get to thinking that the Most High didn't create the evil, because he did. If he did, he had to make evil. Otherwise, you wouldn't have free will. Free will comes with evil, because you get a choice. The choice is yours. He doesn't force you. Rain down, O heavens, from above, and let clouds pour down righteousness. Let the earth open, let them bring forth deliverance, and let righteousness spring up together. I, Yahuwah, have created it. Rain down, O heavens, from above. Let the clouds pour down righteousness. Does the clouds really pour down righteousness? You see, the truth comes from heaven, yes. Just like the Messiah said, you'll see me coming on the clouds, the Son of Man, in all his power and esteem. This is the same. He's talking about the same thing. It's figures of speech. It's not literal. The truth that verse 8 is talking about the mighty right hand, the Most High, the Messiah, Yahusha, the Son, the Lamb, the truth, the way, the life. That's what he's talking about. He's raining him down, O heavens, from above. Let clouds pour down righteousness. Let the earth open. Let them bring forth deliverance. And let righteousness spring up together. I, Yahuwah, have created it. You see? That's how you know. That's why Messiah said, don't believe anyone who says I'm here or there. You'll know. You're seeing it. If you see what I just said is the truth, you're seeing the Messiah coming in on the clouds right now. That's what that is. That's the truth being opened up to you. The Word. So now you know why you shouldn't believe anyone who says the Messiah is over here or the Messiah is over there. How you see Messiah now is him being made manifest in the Word, and the Word being confirmed out here in the light, out here in the world. You see it being confirmed and done, established, that it don't return to him void. You see it bringing a increase. Woe to him who strives with his maker, a potsherd with the potsherds of the earth. Does clay say to him who forms it, what are you making? Or your handiwork say, he has no hands? That's what we do if we question the Most High's word. Like if we question why he would do something, or if he's doing something, or suggest that he wouldn't do that. Who are we? He created us. Woe to him who says to his father, what are you bringing forth? Or to the woman, what are you laboring over? Thus said Yahuwah, the set apart one of Yasharal and his maker. Do you ask me about my sons, what is to come? And about the work of my hands, do you command me? I have made the earth and created man on it. My hands have stretched out the heavens, and all their host I have commanded. I have stirred him up in righteousness, and all his ways I make straight. He builds my city and lets my exiles go, not for price nor reward, declares Yahuwah of hosts. Thus said Yahuwah, the labor of Mitzrayim and merchandise of Cush and of the Sebaites, men of size, come over to you, and they are yours. They walk behind you. They come over in chains, and they bow down to you. They make supplication to you, saying, indeed, the Most High is in you, and there is none else, no mighty one. Truly you are El, who hide yourself, O my Most High of Yasharal, Savior. Now, back up here, when it says, he says, he builds my city and lets my exiles go, not for price nor reward. So he's not doing it. If you do this, you're not doing it for a price. You didn't have to get paid to come do this, to come home and to share the good news about it. And you ain't doing it to get a reward. The only way to do it right, and that's the only way you can do it, is you have to do it the right way. You got to do it because desire, because you want to. You have to be disgusted with its humiliation, not for a reward or a price, but because you're disgusted with its humiliation. It'll be marvelous in your eyes, and you'll relate it to everyone like I have been, and you'll take the heat, the mocking and the scoffing that you're going to get for doing it gladly. You'll be doing it not for a price, not reward, but because you're a brother or you're a sister, a son or a daughter of the Most High, Abba Yahuwah. And he gave you a inherited land, a city, and rest. He gave you rest. And you'll be damned if anyone's gonna humiliate it to your face, and you would rather die than not to esteem it. Thus said Yahuwah, the labor of Mitzrayim and merchandise of Cush. I just read that part. The labor of Mitzrayim, of Egypt, that's the money. That goes to show you right there that I wasn't lying to you. When he says Mitzrayim, which is Egypt, if you do the translate, the compare right here, look, see Egypt, right there, see it? Egypt. So he's talking about Egypt or Mitzrayim. The labor of Mitzrayim and merchandise of Cush and of the Sebaites, men of size, come over to you, and they are yours. They walk behind you, they come over in chains, and they bow down to you. They make a supplication to you, saying, indeed, El is in you, and there is none else, no mighty one. Truly you are El, who hide yourself, O my mighty Most High of Yasharal, Savior. They shall be put to shame and even be humiliated, all of them. The makers of idols shall go away together in humiliation. Yasharal shall be saved by Yahuwah with an everlasting deliverance. You are not to be ashamed nor hurt forever and ever. For thus said Yahuwah, creator of the heavens, he is the Most High, former of earth and its maker. He established it. He did not create it to be empty. He formed it to be inhabited. I am Yahuwah, and there is none else. I have not spoken in secret in a dark place of the earth. I have not said to the seed of Jacob, seek me in vain. I am Yahuwah, speaking righteousness, declaring matters that are straight. He didn't form the earth. He formed it to be inhabited, right? He didn't form it for a bunch of Baal worshiping, pagan, own interest loving people. He didn't make the earth for it to be filled with all that and a bunch of mockery and abomination. He made it to be inhabited and filled with those who love him, his children. I have not spoken in secret in a dark place of the earth. I have not said to the seed of Jacob, seek me in vain. I am Yahuwah, speaking righteousness, declaring matters that are straight. Gather yourselves and come. Draw near together, you who have escaped from the nations. No knowledge have they who are lifting up the wood of their carved image, and pray to a mighty one that does not save. Declare and bring near, let them even take counsel together. Who has announced this from of old? Who has declared it from that time? Is it not I, Yahuwah? And there is no mighty one besides me, a righteous mighty one and a savior. There is none besides me. That's what he's trying to tell you. Get it out of your head. If it's not telling you to come to Jerusalem, to draw near, to come home, keep the Torah, do that which is continual, by partaking in the feast days, loving him, being a part of the family. If you're not doing that, then it ain't coming from him. And there's only one Savior. There is no other Savior besides him. Turn to me and be saved, all you ends of the earth, for I am the mighty one, and there is none else. I have sworn by myself, a word has gone out of my mouth in righteousness, and shall not return, so that to me every knee shall bow, every tongue swear. One shall say, only in Yahuwah do I have righteousness and strength. He comes to him, and all those displeased with him shall be put to shame. In Yahuwah all the seed of Yasharal shall be declared right and boast. One shall say, only in Yahuwah do I have righteousness and strength. That one who says that, he comes to him, to Yahuwah. And all those displeased with him shall be put to shame. All those displeased with Yahuwah and his feast days, those who don't want to hear it, they're like, enough with your feast days and you going to Jerusalem. Enough with your Jerusalem and your escape and your deliverance. Enough with all that. We are getting raptured. We like our church and we like our community, and this is where we live. Okay, that's fine. Well, what about, what's your end? Like, are you just here to die, and are you going to heaven or what? Oh, you're going to heaven? Okay. But why you want to live here? You don't want to go to heaven. Oh, you're just going to die then, and you don't care where you go? Exactly. So why do those people have the argument? They are content with not living. If you aren't, and you truly do want to live, only family will remain and live. And you're declared right, declared family, not by how good of a person you have been, not by your own works. Good thing, because if that's how it was, none of us is gonna make it. But hallelujah, Yahuwah, you're declared right by you taking the free gift of the invitation to the wedding supper, the wedding feast. If you find it marvelous and it's your delight and you show up, the reward is yours. The Messiah told the parable about the man having the wedding supper, the wedding feast, and no one that he invited wanted to show up. They made excuses. They said, oh, I just got married. I'm doing this, I'm doing that. They made excuses, didn't want to come. They don't have to. He didn't go kidnap them and make them show up to the wedding feast. No, he went out and invited people who weren't originally invited. And those who he invited, those who came that he invited, well, they get to partake in the wedding and life. All you got to do is choose. But if you choose not to, you choose death. Choose life, my friend. Don't let this opportunity pass you by. There's been people for thousands of years who've been looking at the word and pondering over what a lot of this stuff means. And you have the ability to obtain that understanding, gain all that knowledge, information in order to find out who you are and the place of your origin, and in order for you to become unified in a bond of perfection, of love. You have that opportunity right now. It's the key of David, of Daoud. All you got to do is come through the door. Come home. Double doors. And then in Yahuwah all the seed of Yasharal shall be declared right and boast.